All right. Hi, guys. Good morning. My name's Perla. I am a double gold consultant, travel agent, and travel trainer. We're going to be going over how to use the Norwegian Cruise Line travel agent site or the portal. It is a little bit of an older site, I've noticed, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's very easy to use. But I will also say that if for whatever reason you have an issue with the portal, with your access, you're really unsure how to navigate something on the site, if you contact Norwegian directly and just follow the prompts that you're a travel agent, they are so helpful. I've had to call them a few times just with questions. And initially, when I first did a booking with them, I had some questions on how to even set it up on their portal, and they were extremely helpful. So definitely take advantage of that and don't feel afraid or scared to reach out to them because they are extremely helpful. All right. So, um, when you log in, this is what it's going to bring you to. Okay. A lot of the stuff on the site, on this main site or main menu, I guess I should say, is very repetitive because you're going to see a menu on the left-hand side, and then you're going to see stuff here in the middle. Essentially, a lot of it is repeated. Okay. So I'm not going to go through every single tab here, but obviously you can see they have a learning section. So they'll have then like their Norwegian Cruise Line University. You can kind of go through and get certified with them. They then have, step by step, like how to book, deck plans, itineraries, their rewards. So each time a traveler, or whether if it's you or a client, sails on Norwegian, they will then automatically get enrolled in their rewards program. And so they will receive however many points per night of their sailing. They have different tiers to their rewards program. So actually, most recently, I was sending that information over to a client because they sailed on a Norwegian cruise line before and wanted to know kind of where they were at with that. Travel protection, all those things. So they kind of have everything here for you laid out nicely. Then the marketing headquarters. So this is going to be where if you want to order collateral, if you want to look at any promotions they have going on, any popular itineraries, if you want to download some images, download some sales tools, you can certainly do that. Now, obviously, as with any of the vendors that we have, their information, like their images, their collateral, their promotions and stuff like that, that's going to be like the best to use because it's obviously going to be higher quality images. Again, the collateral, it's going to be free to ship to your house. And you can kind of choose stuff from there. So especially if you're not familiar with Norwegian and now all of a sudden you have a client that wants to go on Norwegian and you're just not sure where to point them, like which direction to point them in terms of itineraries or stuff like that, you could then always click on popular itineraries and that's going to give kind of point you in the right direction. New reservations. So again, this is going to be if you want to create a new reservation, if you want to pull up an existing reservation, latitudes lookup. So this is going to be if they have a latitudes reward, you can look them up here. Travel agent reduced rates, e-documents, purchase cruise first, cruise next report, all these things. So this is essentially kind of anything related to a booking. Okay. And then connecting with them then on their Facebook. You can go, they have a resource guide, they have a commission form, which I personally haven't dived into that only because I don't think that we need to, just because we're submitting our commissions through the commission tracking form in our like on our travel site. So that's not anything that you would necessarily have to worry about. Now, if you look on the left side here, all of this, like these little buttons and menus, is essentially kind of similar to what's here in the middle. So repetitive, but you can kind of click on whichever one is better for you. So if you have an existing reservation, obviously you're going to pull it up here. But for the training, we're just going to do a new reservation. And then it's going to bring you, which I don't know why this always does this to me. But it like logs me out for a second and I have to just log back in. So when you're doing a new reservation, it's going to bring you here and you're going to see, actually, give me 1 second, guys. Let me just turn off these notifications. I don't know if you guys can hear them, but it's annoying me. Okay. So It's going to bring you here to this page, and you're going to see different tabs up here. Okay. And these are the tabs that we're going to go through as we're going and building this cruise package. Okay. So when we're here under agency, this is just kind of like you're skipping over this. You don't need to do anything here. This is just kind of showing you who the agent is that is booking this cruise, which is going to be you. Your info is going to be here, right? But this agent ID, don't get confused. It's not going to be your same agent ID that you would have with Archer as an agent. It's going to be just your agent ID within Norwegian portal. And same thing with Archer. So it's going to have Archer's IATA number, but it's going to have a different agency ID just in terms of like the account that we have with Norwegian. Okay, so don't get confused with any of this. We're then just going to hit continue because there's nothing that we need to do on this tab. Then now it's going to take us to the next tab, vacation. Okay. Now it's going to ask us, when do we want to travel? Now we can, under this tab, we can just do a regular, just single booking, or we can do a group, and we can create a group, you just clicking search to create freestyle group, but we're just going to do a regular booking. Okay. Travel dates, it's always going to give you a span of like 30 days. So I believe it was next December. We'll do that. Vacation length, again, you can filter 5 to 8 days. Destination, if you know it, you can put that in there. Embark port, so where are they leaving from? So this particular cruise was leaving from Puerto Rico. And then the ship, you can then even narrow it down even more to the ship. If you don't know the ship, you can just leave it as such. Then number of guests. So how many adults, children, and infants. For the training, I'm just going to do 2 adults. Are then any of the adults older than 55? Are they a past guest or latitude member? And then for where they currently live at, you have to then just put their state. This will then just include if there's any additional discounts per the state, but then we'll also kind of filter it then more so for the insurance as well. If you can include the insurance automatically on the quote. So when we hit start search, now it's going to take us to voyage. Okay. And as you can see on the left-hand side, it's going to have an open reservation, and it's going to automatically give us like a reservation number for our cart. Okay, so if you ever need to contact Norwegian, this would be the number you can give them, so that way they can pull up exactly what you're looking at. Okay, so as we're going through each tab, it's going to continue building and adding on to this open reservation and start and update our pricing. Okay. So because this cruise, we filtered it as best as we could, leaving from Puerto Rico next December, I'm going to select this cruise here that leaves the 22nd because I want it to be a Christmas cruise. Okay. Now the tabs here are a little like shrunk a little bit. So you could like expand them just to see or anything really with a hyperlink. You can click on it. All right. So let's say you're like Norwegian Viva. Okay, this is one of their newest ships. You can click this. It's going to give you a little bit of an overview. You can hit see view, full page, and now it's going to give you a whole inside look into the cruise itself, the cruise ship itself, the different types of room categories, cabin categories. Okay. You can click on it, and now it's going to give you like a bigger picture. You can then also see the decks as well. All right. So it kind of just gives you a little bit more information, especially if you've never been on the ship before, or you just want to read about it. So this leaves Sunday, December 22nd. It's a 7-day cruise. So if you hover over these, it'll say like sail days, start day, itinerary info. So now let's see where they're going to. So they're leaving from Puerto Rico. They're going to the British Virgin Islands, Antigua, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Martin, and then returning back to Puerto Rico. Okay. It's a 7-day Caribbean round trip. That's the title of the cruise. And now you have here all these different hyperlinks because this is going to be the different room categories. So as you can see, inside stateroom, outside view, balcony. So the difference between outside and balcony. So outside is literally just going to have like a window, like a porthole window, balcony, mini suite, a suite, and then the Haven category, which obviously is going to be the more, exclusive, luxurious type of stay. Okay. So we're just going to do a balcony. So we can either select here or just select the cruise just by selecting select. So once we do that, now it's going to take us over to the category tab. Okay. So again, every time that we're moving to the next section, it's taking us to the next tab. And if you look on the left-hand side, it's now updating our open reservation in terms of price invoice. Once you hover over it, it's also going to show you any commissions that like what your commissions are at this current point. So this $3,900 cruise, the commission of $564, reservation total. It has all the insurance already included, taxes, all those things. Okay. So as you're going through and you're adding things, you can now see your price updating. All right. So now it's going to ask us for the category. So cabin category, we want to do a balcony. So we have several different categories here. So let's just select this one here. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to show you something. So under category, it's going to show you the description, right? But let's say you're like, well, I want to see a little bit about this. You can click it. Now it's going to show you the photo of what the room looks like, right? But you could obviously just Google it. You could just Google the Norwegian Prima ship, and on the Norwegian consumer site, you'll have more information on the actual room category. And that's where you can get some more photos and descriptors for your client. It's going to tell you here max occupancy for 2. If I go up, it's going to say for a crib, if a crib's allowed, status, how many cabins are available. So how many more balconies are available on this cruise ship. So there's 7+ available. Now for this one, aft facing balcony, there's only 1 left. Okay, so that way you can see, especially if you're kind of speaking with a client that's a little back and forth, you can know at a glance, okay, how many rooms are available, especially if maybe you're dealing with a larger group as well, and they need more rooms, you're able to see at a glance how many rooms are left on this ship. Current promotion. So it's going to show you which promotions are applied. So like to this particular sailing. Reservation total. So see how pricing is now going to increase because we now have more of an upgraded type of suite or room. So we're going to hit select. And then you see on the left-hand side, our pricing is now different. Our commission has now increased. Okay. So now it's going to take us to the stateroom. So because we selected a room that has a category of BB, right? Now it's going to give us an option to select our stateroom, okay? And it's going to give us 2 deck options, deck 10, deck 11. So let's just do deck 11. We can zoom out a little bit and now we can see the kind of like a picture of the cruise, of the ship, and each stateroom that's available. That's open. Okay. As you keep scrolling down, you can see these are all balconies. There's a bunch that are available. And this helps too, especially if you're booking families and they want to be, with next to each other, or they want to have connecting rooms. That's what this little arrow means, that it's a connecting room. And then here you can see these are private elevators. So obviously it doesn't really matter. So we can just select this one and just hit select. Okay, so now it's going to take us to our guest info. All right, so now it's automatically going to populate this dummy person. So we're just going to delete them. And now we're going to have to create a new traveler. So let's just put Sally Smith, female, her birth date. Let's just choose a random birthday in December 1st, 1981. I'll just put my email. Okay. Then you have to create a household. Okay. So this is going to be. All right. So this made up zip code is in Paris, New York. So we're going to just hit add. And now, or no, not add, I'm sorry. I always do that. This is the address. Okay. If you can select, you can add another address if you wanted to, but that would obviously be like if you have multiple people staying in one room that just live different, have different addresses, then you can do that. So we're just going to hit save and continue. Now Mrs. Sally Smith, 1234 Nowhere Lane is here. So now we need to add a guest because we're doing it for 2 adults. So now we're going to add Sally's husband and we're going to create, and it's going to be Mr. Bob Smith, and his birthday is November 2nd. Okay. Then the household, now it's going to automatically pull up the address that I put in for Sally. Okay. And that's what you want to put. All right. You always want to have an address for each traveler. So we're going to hit save and continue. And now we have both of our clients listed here. Then we can continue. Now, if obviously you have more guests, you can certainly add them here. But most likely, if you did, it's going to come back as a error because the stateroom that you selected is only for double occupancy. You would have to select a stateroom that allows you to have more than 2 people in that stateroom, and then it will allow you to properly add those people to the reservation. So now after guest info, it takes us to price programs. Price programs is now where you're able to see more in detail view of the total pricing. Okay. So yes, we can see pricing here. We can see our commission. We can see total amount, gross, net, taxes, savings, right? Over $4,700 in savings. But here it's going to show us more in-depth look because now we're able to see all of the promotions, right? So at first glance, it looks very confusing, but it's only because now this is a very simple booking because it's just 2 guests. But if we had 4 guests, it would be much longer than this because it's going to have the promotions for each guest in the room, and it's just going to keep going down, 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 down. Does that make sense? So it's going to just be repetitive a lot on this page. So it's going to show you early booking fare. They have a reduced rate percentage off for both guests. Plus they have an onboard credit offer for both guests. Okay. So these are the promotions that are automatically applied to this sailing. However, we do have an opportunity to add some additional promotions. Okay. So just so you guys know, prepaid service charges, these are going to be gratuities. Okay. So you, especially when you're booking your client, just let them know, hey, we can add these up front. That way, when you get on the ship, you don't have to pay it. When I contacted Norwegian, I asked them, is this something that needs to be put on the reservation, whether at the time of booking or even if they're on the ship? And they said yes. So whether if they pay it up front, if they paid up front, obviously better for them because then it's less money they have to fork out on the ship. But if they don't add it onto their reservation, they will have to pay it by the end of their cruise. So it's just more so a conversation, just preparing your client like, hey, just so that way you're not surprised with an amount, you know, whatever that percentage is by the time your cruise is over, it's better to just take care of it right now, right? So when you want to select this, you're just going to select, obviously, for both guests, okay? Now it has early booking fare, the prepaid service charges, the reduced rate percentage off. If you need a kosher meal for any of your guests, you can add that. And then here are some additional promotions. We have 4 different options. If you hover over them, it's going to show you beverage, dining, internet, shore excursion credit, beverage, internet, shore excursion credit, dining, internet, shore excursion credit, and then internet and shore excursion. So for the purpose of it being more of an all-inclusive type experience, I personally recommend choosing the all 4 CHO because it's going to give them a beverage package. It's going to give them a dining package. It'll give them internet package, And then also it'll give them a $50 shore excursion credit for the first guest. Okay. So it's going to reduce the cost that they're going to have to pay on the ship. Of course, if there's going to be any specialty dining experiences that they want, that won't be included in the dining. I believe in this promotion, promo code, they will have an opportunity for, I think, up to 1 or 2 specialty restaurants. But if there's any more specialty restaurants on this cruise ship, which most likely there is, it will not be included. They would have to pay out of pocket. Okay. So now if we add this promotion code, we're going to apply the promotions. And you saw how when I added that, all the other 3 grayed out because you can only have one of those. All right. Now, if you know, let me just go back. If you know that your client is not, let's say they're not a drinker and they don't want the beverage package, they'd want to just forego the beverage package, but they really want the dining, internet, and the shore excursion, then you'd select this one, of course. Or maybe they don't want dining and they don't want beverage, they just want the internet package and the shore excursion credit. So you are able to customize it. And I also found out as well, if for whatever reason, let's say Sally is the drinker and Bob is not, if you contact Norwegian, they can, on their end, they can then make that price adjustment where Bob has a different promotion code than Sally. So Sally will have that beverage aspect on her tab essentially, but Bob will have that beverage taken off. So then it's going to adjust the price a little bit. We're not able to do that on our end, but if you call them, once the reservation's made, they're able then to make that adjustment specifically for each guest individually if there's something that a guest just is not going to be using. Okay. So moving on to land programs. Land programs, this basically means pre-cruise hotel, post-cruise hotel. So these people are leaving from Puerto Rico. All right. They don't live in Puerto Rico. They live here in Pennsylvania. So they're going to want to get there at least a day or 2 prior to their sailing. Right. So now we're going to hit add land program. And now it's going to pull up all the different options for the cruise or for the pre-hotel stay and post, or not pre-hotel, pre-cruise stay and also the post-cruise stay. Okay. So at first glance, it looks like a lot and it looks confusing, but if you just look at it, it's pretty self-explanatory. So if you look here, 3-night pre-cruise package, and you see that it starts the 19th. When does their cruise sail? The 22nd. So now, of course, this is going to give them 3 days of time in Puerto Rico to kind of explore. And as you keep going down, it's going to go down less. So 2-night stay, 1-night pre-stay. Okay, let's say they want to stay for 2 nights prior to the cruise. So they're going to come on the 20th. And you have 2 options, the AC Hotel or the Sheraton. Let's do the Sheraton. It's $5 cheaper. And we're going to select for both guests. Now this is pre-cruise. Let's say when they come back from the cruise, they want to stay an additional 2 to 3 nights post, right? Because to explore some more. So now as we go down, we're going to see it's going to change to post. Okay. Just hover over it. You can hover if you want to look at the information on the hotel. Of course, this one doesn't have it, but you can literally just Google Sheraton Puerto Rico Hotel and Casino. Okay. So let's say they want to stay for an additional 3 nights because they want to, finish off the 2024 in Puerto Rico and celebrate New Year's there. So now we're going to add 3 nights and we hit apply. So we were able to add pre and post. Okay. So now when we hit continue, it's going to take us to air. Again, Bob and Sally live in Pennsylvania. They need to get to Puerto Rico. So you have 2 options. You can add independent air, which means you are purchasing, or not you, but they are purchasing their flights separate from this booking. And once you have that flight itinerary, you select add independent air, and now you're able to put in their flight itinerary. So then they will have transfers. They'll have someone at the airport picking them up, taking them to their hotel. And then same thing, when it's time to go back home, they'll have someone picking them up at the hotel, taking them to the airport on their return back home. Okay. That's one way to do it. Or you can select bundle air. When you hit bundle air, this is when you are bundling the flights with this package. So there is a little bit of a downside with this. The downside is that, or I guess the good thing is, a lot of times Norwegian will have a promotion that says buy airfare for one guest, the second guest is free. So that's a really good promo. However, the downside is that you're essentially leaving Norwegian to decide their flight itinerary. And you will not receive the flight itinerary until 30 days prior to the sailing. So you won't have really any control over their flight itinerary. So unfortunately, sometimes they may select a flight itinerary that sucks. So that's the one thing that's a little bit of a downside. But if they have a good promo, sometimes you kind of just have to weigh out, your options. So when you hit bundled air, now it's going to ask you, where are they leaving from? So if they're in Pennsylvania, they're going to leave from Philly. And where do they want to return to? Do they want to return back to Philly, or are they going to return to another airport, right? So this is obviously, it's a little repetitive, but it's beneficial, especially if you have, people traveling from different places. So let's say Bob and Sally weren't married, they were just friends or something, and they're coming from opposite ends of the country. You're able to really customize that for them here. Okay. So we'll hit save. And then continue. So see, it doesn't give you any options for flight itinerary, like for flights. You're not choosing flights, you're not selecting flight itineraries at all. So now travel protection, it's going to automatically default to standard. If you go and you want to know exactly what's included in this travel protection, different ones, essentials, platinum, standard. If you literally just Google the Norwegian travel protection packages, they give you a very in-depth description on what's included and the benefits for each. Okay. Motor coach, per Norwegian, when I called them, this we can just skip over. There's nothing that we need to put on here. I've never had to use it. Once we hit continue, now we're at special requests. Okay. Now let's say Bob and Sally are celebrating their anniversary or something like that. We can add that. So let's say anniversary cake, we want to add. Let's say we want to add another request and we want to put, push the beds together and they want extra pillows or something like that. Or maybe they have a specific diet that needs to be followed. Okay. We can add these requests. So coming at the end, now we're at pricing. Now it's going to give us the full pricing of everything. Okay. And again, we can see the pricing over here as well. So pricing for this specific cruise and this stateroom, here are all the promo codes that we added. Okay. Seems like they have a promotion going on currently for the air, because we see that air promo here. Plus we see the all four CHO promo, reduced rate percentage off, early booking fare, onboard credit, prepaid service charges. So here is their totals per person. So typically that first guest is always going to be a little bit more expensive than the second guest, as you can see. Okay. Here's that total, 11,100. Here's our commission. There's always going to be that base commission of 13, 14%. And then there's always going to be, from what I've noticed, there's always like an extra commission added on, depending on the different add-ons that you are adding onto this package. Okay. So there's that total 11,100. There's your commission. And then as you scroll down, here are all the add-ons that we did. And it looks like a lot, but if you see, here's the airfare from Philly to San Juan, right? Here's the transfers, airport to hotel. So again, you don't have to put anything in for the transfers because it's automatically going to do it for you. Once you either bundle the air or once you put that independent air, it's going to automatically have those transfers set up for the clients. Air return. So from Puerto Rico back to Philadelphia, beverage package, dining package, onboard credit, prepaid service charges. Here's then their hotel, pre and post. Here's their transfers from the hotel to the airport on their return on the 1st. Here's their transfers to the port, from the hotel to the port. Here's the insurance, and then here's the transfers from the port to the hotel. So it's kind of a little out of order, but you can kind of see, right? All of the transfers are set up. So there's not one aspect that's left out here, okay? Unless if, of course, they want to do excursions and stuff like that, then you can add that on after the fact. So once we hit continue, so this is our payment schedule. So our first deposit that's going to be due in 2 days or 3 days is going to be $250. So they would only have to pay $250 to lock this in. Okay. Then their final payment of the remaining balance, $10,850, is then due August 24th. All right. And then they can make payments, or they can just pay this huge lump sum. And you would just come on here and do that. We can commit booking no payment because it's going to give us 3 days. It's going to give us 3 days time to reserve this at this pricing. It's going to reserve the stateroom and all those things for that client. Let's say they needed to wait until, I don't know, Thursday to get paid or something like that. You can give them that sense of security. Okay. And then that's pretty much it. So essentially, just going through all of these tabs, you can then add everything that they need, make that reservation. Then once that reservation is done, you can then add those excursions that they wanted, anything like that. I definitely recommend, if there are any excursions, do the excursions that are hosted essentially by the cruise line, because in the event that the excursion runs a little late or something, the cruise will wait for those passengers. If you do an excursion outside of the cruise line, so like let's say you find an excursion for them on Viator or something, that's not with Norwegian. So if they're late, they will leave. They will not wait for the passengers.